You guys got 9 movies, right?
Hey, yes.
9? I have 10 movies.
Well, your list is going to be interesting then. We'll leave it there.
What do you mean 9 movies?
No, we'll do it on cast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the final episode of the X-Men Retrospective. I bet it's going to be a great one.
Ayo.
I am the Adamantium Phil Travis Snell.
I am the rate master, Kyle Smith.
What?
I don't know. What is so funny? We're rating movies. It's a segue into what we're doing. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's the best thing I could come up with on the spot.
It did not sound like that in my head.
Oh, did you hear rape master? Oh,
That's
God.
fire.
Yeah.
Nah, I said rate. Rate.
Really got
Rating.
pronounced
We're
that.
rating movies.
Because before we went live, you screwed up like 2 words. So, yeah.
Nah, you guys are dirty ass.
and you threw in the hand motions too. And
I don't know. It's like,
I'm the red.
I was really concerned. Get us out of here, Kirkland.
Cheese whiz. I am
Cheese whiz
the
Kirkland.
redeemed Kirkland Patzer.
redeemed.
Yeah, and because of that, thank you for tuning in this episode. We're done. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have tuned in the other ones, you know what we're doing. If not, you should go back because this is the final episode in honor of Dark Phoenix, which when you drop or when you listen to this and this drops, will be coming out next week. We'll be doing a review. Hopefully myself and Kirkland will be on that. Probably 99.9%. God given some emergency, but we'll be very excited. Kyle won't be here, but we'll try to. Well, he won't even see it, so who knows? We'll tell him. And
I'll see a day before them, actually.
You'll be giving his rating.
right, yeah, yeah.
Sucks to suck,
Look
boys.
out, everybody! I'm the rate master.
Rate. You guys are
I
awful.
said rate. I just see.
See?
See? Yeah, I said the word rate. I didn't even. I'm not saying that R word
yeah.
on cast. Kirkland took the risk and said it, not me. What was I gonna say? So
You just said the R word.
I never. No. Go back. I never said the one with the P. I've said T every time.
Same here.
I know, but it didn't see. It didn't sound like it. Let's stop talking about that. We have watched and reviewed every X-Men film that we did not review on the cast, which was X-Men 2 Days of Future Past. You can go back and hear our indistinct reviews, our thoughts, except for Days of Future Past, because Kyle has no thoughts on that movie.
It's great.
And what we're gonna do,
Great movie.
what we're gonna do here is we're gonna rank our top 10 characters, and then we're gonna rank the film. Just a fun little ranking special. I thought about doing villains, but that's pretty
Nah.
self-explanatory because it's just gonna be Magneto, Stryker. I don't know,
Sebastian
Peter
Shaw.
Dinklage. Yeah, like it's not an interesting list. It's not like we did that for the MCU retro. That had
It's a bit different.
20 villains. This was just. It's going to be Fassbender and Ian McKellen going back and forth the whole time. So we just stuck with a good wrap up. Let's start with characters. Who wants to go first? And just we'll go 10, 10, 10, and we'll go
Okay.
around.
That's
Ooh,
what I was
like
worried
that.
we were going to do.
I'll go first.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Because I have an honorable mention. He almost made it on my list before I remembered somebody. Sabretooth. I love Leo Schreiber's Sabretooth. He was really nice and kind of cheesy and campy in that movie, but he's my honorable mention. Just didn't quite. He was 10 for a while until I remembered who it was, but I can't tell you who that was till we get up there. 10. I'm going Stryker. Obviously, he was in the Terrible Origins movie, but the stuff he was in X2, great character, great foil, which was good because probably till we got even Sebastian Shaw and Peter Dinklage. I think they're good, but I don't think they're anywhere as good as Stryker. So, so spoiler, those two did not make my list. So number 10 is William Stryker, specifically from X2. I think in Origin he's fine, but he's a lot more just one note cookie cutter. It's the X2 Stryker I'm putting in there.
Yeah, you really got to give your specific who Stryker.
Yeah,
Because
you
he's
got
in
different
almost all of
actors.
these. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm going Days of Future Past Stryker.
All right, who wants to go next?
I'll go. So my number 10 is Sabretooth, actually. I thought
From X-Men 1.
yeah. Hey, you got it. That's so right. No, obviously from Origins. I thought he did again, same thing what Travis said. Did a really good job of what with the movie itself. It was an awful movie. I can't believe we had to watch that, but you know what we did it for the cast.
Did it for the fans.
Do it for you guys because we're the rating masters.
Nope. No.
Yeah.
Then
No,
nice.
so number 10 is Sebastian Shaw for me. Sorry.
No.
Oh my God. Sabretooth.
I
I'm
wonder
reading
who's
my
number
next
9
one.
is.
All right, here we are. So I'll do my honorable mentions.
Yep.
I have
How it
2.
goes.
My first one is X-23, the little girl from Logan.
Oh.
I was gonna make a prediction that Kyle forgot about her. And he
I
did.
totally did.
Yeah.
I threw in the honorable mentions because
Wow.
she isn't in it much.
She's in that movie a lot.
In Logan, lots.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
X-Men series.
So
No,
I'm
we're
talking
doing
about,
all the X-Men movies.
Yeah, I
That
know.
includes Logan.
So you're
know.
telling me you have no characters on this list that are only a one and done? Yeah.
Ooh, controversial.
Controversial pick here.
Contradicting. Yeah, I'm gonna go with X-23. She is a big role in Logan, and she doesn't speak much. Maybe that's why I'll put her in my honorable mentions.
List is changing real quick for me now.
So wouldn't your number 10 not be your number 10 anymore? Isn't Sabretooth also bumped out now?
Yeah, it would be.
Oh, great. So after Kirkland goes, give us your new number 10, you bastard.
Yeah, I'm I don't know. I had to mention her. Obviously, there's definitely going to be some controversial
Oh, no.
debates going on with the rest of my list, especially since I just have her in my honorable mentions. But it's my list, and that's what I got to do. So I'm keeping her in my honorable mentions.
You said you had two honorable mentions. You should give them both then your number 10, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Because then you'd be quite far behind us. We'd be on our 8, and you'd still just be on number 10.
These are facts.
Yeah.
Quick math.
Matt. Yeah.
all right, I'll go. I'll go Sabretooth as my last honorable mention.
was that a change right there?
It was.
Oh.
It was. Yes, because I'm not, yeah, I won't explain myself. I don't have to. Obviously not the first one that we got to see, but who was the actor again? Sorry.
Liev Schreiber.
Yeah, Liev Schreiber.
Liev Schreiber.
Liev
Schreiber.
Schreiber. With a B?
Yeah. Yeah.
Schreiber.
Yeah.
Like
they
that.
call him the rape master on the streets.
No, I think I mentioned it when we were on Origins, but overall, the look, I do prefer the Beast kind of look that we got from the first X-Men, but he's such a flat character in that movie, and Eve Schreiber,
It's getting worse as he continues.
It's like my animanium.
Oh God!
almost
What were they fighting in Days of Future Past?
Sentinels. Sentinels.
No, he's just such a scary character with his persona and the way he talks, and
Very
I don't know,
intimidating.
very intimidating, and he sits with you afterwards. You think about him more than just the Sabretooth we got from the first X-Men. So
We're brothers, Jimmy.
yeah, we're come here, little Jimmy. We gotta get out of
He
here.
is little Jimmy, actually. Kyle, what's your real number 10 now?
I didn't say my number 10. Those were my
Oh,
honorable
right.
mentions.
Bub, bub, bub.
Yikes, that was his
Buddy.
honorable mentions.
Hey, bub. I'm gonna go
Hey,
number
bub.
10 as
That's a good one.
I'll go William Stryker.
It's
He wasn't even
Carlton.
on my list until you brought him up. Just because we have had so much of him throughout these movies that
Some could say too much.
some may argue.
we could have put in some other villains, but we always went back to Stryker and his son.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna obviously go with the X-Men 2 or
Mhm.
X2 Stryker.
United.
What's that?
That's the subtitle of that movie.
Really?
X2 United.
Oh man.
Just like X3 is The Last Stand.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought it was just X2, and that was
No.
just the title of the
Last
movie.
Jedi stealing from The Last Stand.
Hmm.
You know?
Cool. Anyways, no, he's just that character, and I'm not gonna even try and guess who the actor is that plays him. I'll let
Brian Cox.
Brian Cox.
I
He's
should just lie, so then for the rest of your life you keep saying someone else.
Bill Cosby.
Anthony Hopkins, not Bill. Okay, you can't. We just went over the rape master thing, and now you're throwing out Bill Cosby. You got a theme going on. It's not great. It's not great for
a
for
rocky
our
start.
sponsors. So
it's a rocky start.
yeah,
No, Brian Cox is his portrayal of Stryker in that movie. He's just so cocky, and he's just, I don't know, he's just a regular human guy. He doesn't have any mutations or anything, but he's just he's scary to Logan, who's probably one of the most intimidating X-Men of all of them. So just I don't want to go too hard on that one character, but he's just, I don't know, he's definitely the best adaptation of the Strikers that we've seen throughout these movies.
So I guess since mine got bumped out, so my new number 10 is Jean Grey, actually.
really.
Yeah, you know what? For her, thinking about it as a character point of view, more of what she does with the story and helps Wolverine not really like how more it builds Wolverine's story is more of a supporting character, but I don't know. I couldn't really think of anything. This is at the very bottom of the list, so
Wow.
yeah, my other ones are a lot better. That's it. Jean Grey, my girl, and I like redheads, so that's another thing.
She's the reddest of the redheads. And I got to say, shouts out when we saw her in Days of Future Past wearing that all red outfit, which I was loving from the first X-Men. So I'm glad that they went back to that original outfit.
Number 9 for me, Nightcrawler. The Incredible Nightcrawler. Kurt Wagner. He's just a lot of fun. I think Alan Cummings nails that character. I think it's a pretty basic character, just kind of comedic relief in that movie, but there's some good times. Obviously, I know he is tied to the plot, but what his performance is, it's mostly comedic, but there is times where he has to be a little darker or a little more ashamed of himself. He pulls it off very well. Nightcrawler, a cool character. I like the look. I still love the original comic look of the black and red, but just used very well in that movie. I do think I would say the 7 to 10 were tough to. I think I can make a case for Stryker being higher than almost all of these next ones. It's just I prefer these ones, and they just give me a good chuckle. I think Stryker is a better character, but this is a ranking, so that's where it goes into. So yeah, I'm going Nightcrawler number 9, and I wish he was going to be a number 3, but it never happened. So
okay, I'll go. I'm gonna go with Quicksilver, the young Quicksilver that we got. Like I mentioned, specifically from like the two key scenes that we get, the one from Apocalypse with the Arithmetic song, and in Days of Future Past when he saves Magneto from the Pentagon. It's just, and I know they're pretty like small scenes that happen in these movies, but they really sit with me. And like when I think of Apocalypse, that's the only thing I really think about, which is kind of a good thing probably, because there's a lot of issues with that movie. But I don't know, they're just so memorable. And I remember we were having that debate whether, I mean, it's not really a debate. You guys have your own like opinions that you guys think Days of Future Past, that scene is, I don't know, you just enjoyed it more than the Apocalypse one. But for me, it's such an intense like thing that's happening where just like the X Mansion is just like blowing up and it's just shit's hitting the fan, and then it just changes like the whole tone of that intense scene to just like an awesome song from the 80s, and it just, I don't know, it's just an uplift. I don't know, maybe I'm just really like that song, but yeah, I don't know. It's just really like unique the way they shot those scenes too. And just that actor, the way he portrayed Quicksilver, I like his version of it.
Fair. So then my number 9 is Sebastian Shaw.
okay.
I really liked Kevin Bacon. I think he did an excellent job with this role. He made it
sizzling.
He was real sizzling. He made this role fun and made even as if he was an evil character, but you could tell Kevin did a really good job of like
first name basis.
Oh yeah,
because your name's Kevin, isn't it?
Apparently, I have many names on this cast. Apparently, no, he had a.
Don't say it.
I thought he was
I was gonna say guest one.
Okay,
but
continue.
That's fine. I don't know why you guys are ganging up on me on this cast today. It's not
You
really
deserve
fair.
it. You deserve it.
I do not deserve it.
You deserve it.
Anyways, no, I think he plays the role really well. He has fun with it, and you can tell. And every time he's on screen, he just does an incredible job, and you want to watch more of it. So, he's my number 9.
Seek.
That's back to me.
Yeah, it is, sir.
What were you saying over there?
I said seek.
Okay, I thought that was some different language for the letter, like the number 8. I was trying to figure it out, but Beast. I think this is just a perfect performance.
You put Beast at number 8?
100%, because to me he
Beast?
From definitely Beast from X3. If I think about animated series and the comics, that is Beast. I'm almost having problems with my.
Always having problems.
My numbers have switched around since we started.
You know what? I'm going to lie, and I'm going to bump Beast up 1. I'm going to go Quicksilver right now, just for the screen time, because Quicksilver, to me, that is a fun version of Quicksilver. He has so many different iterations. It's not... it's not. First of all, we don't have much screen time of him, even with this and Apocalypse. Hopefully, Dark Phoenix comes out, we'll get more of him. I do worry he could get killed off quickly because I feel like I haven't seen him in many trailers, so that's great. And that could be another motivation for Magneto of wanting to take out Jean because he killed my son and he
How would
killed.
he know that though? He doesn't know he has a son.
But I bet, knowing this franchise, he told them in the 10 years we didn't get to see. I mean, that's gonna be a massive eye roll moment. But yeah, Quicksilver, just lots of fun. I like all his lines. Go back to Days of Future Past review. His scenes with Magneto are great. Just a fun character. He's, along with Deadpool,
They were
he's
great, eh?
He's a character. Oh yeah, phenomenal. He's a character I also wish could come over the MCU because I think he's the most MCU character in this franchise. I feel he's very quippy and it all works very
Related
well.
to Scarlet Witch, so there you go.
Yeah, but Quicksilver.
Oh yeah, he died. Never mind.
Yeah, remember there was a Quicksilver.
There was
but
I
maybe
forgot
if we
about
do
him.
some alternate dimension, hey, I'm the new Quicksilver. So yeah, Quicksilver, and you guys can just go the next time when we get there because my seven's Beast, and I was saying why I just feel like he's a perfect iteration of that character. That's the reverse where he is. I wish we could have had so much more of him, especially the animated series. They're so close together. The cadence of his speech impediment. No.
Wow.
The cadence of his speech, the way he carries himself, the acting. There's this one moment when him and Logan are fighting back to back, and he's just like, "Oh, I thought you were a politician." And he's like, "There comes a time where every man," he's like, "You get the point," and he just hits a guy and he just like jumps off and goes like in that moment, just captures everything Beast is. Like he's elegant, he's funny, but he's also just a badass. So yeah, Beast is all the way at number 7. Lucky number 7.
Alrighty, I am gonna go with my number 8 because that's where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Not for Travis. My number 8.
I'm in the future.
You know what? Just for controversial like topics, I'm gonna go my number 8 as the Incredible Nightcrawler, and the reason it's controversial is for my number 7 that you guys are gonna shit your pants when I say this.
Oh boy.
Okay.
I don't really have to. Nightcrawler.
You can say he's great, or you can explain. It's up
He's
to
great.
you. Yeah.
No, it's mostly. Like all the hype for that character kind of grew from that intro scene in X2 when he is at the White House, and that's the first time I really got introduced to that character. And I was just, I don't know, like there's so many mysteries around him. It's just like, why is he blue? Why does he have those tattoos? Like he's an awesome power. He kind of looks a little devilish. So I don't know. There's just a lot of mystery behind him, and I don't know. I think I just kind of have a bias for those darker type characters, and I love his voice, his little like German style, like old German kind of. What was that?
Accent?
I'm just doing the
German accent?
I was talking to myself while you're talking.
I heard you in the
interrupt
mic.
you.
Yeah, I
Luckily,
heard
because I'm
you.
wearing
The
headphones.
Incredible Nightcrawler.
Yeah, just like stuff like that's hilarious.
Oh, save it.
Especially being like in X2, like his little, like when he says it like multiple times, and then when Logan finally gets, it's just like save it. No, it's just I don't know. He's a memorable character to me, and he's been one of my favorite characters since I first saw that movie.
Mm-hmm.
My number 7 though, I'm ready for you guys' reaction here. Kitty Pryde, Ellen Page.
Wow.
I have an incredible
You know,
bias.
I picked Jane Grey, so that's fine.
Who?
Jean Grey.
Gray jeans.
Jane Grey.
Jane Grey.
Wow, that's
no,
some Ellen Page bias.
I have an incredible bias for Ellen Page. I didn't even know that she was the character Kitty Pryde was in this movie franchise before she was introduced until Travis brought it up. Are you yawning, or I thought you were about to yell or something?
both.
He's disappointed
I can
because your answers don't match his.
I can somehow.
He doesn't appreciate your opinion.
No, I
That's what
don't.
it is.
I don't
Thanks-
appreciate your opinion.
Thanks for speaking
no.
for me, guest one.
I'm your thought. I'm your anger translator, actually.
Because I'm letting in the listeners know. I could give you the pass if she was on your list. The fact that she's higher than some other people that's a little crazy.
That's
That's
his
why I was gonna
opinion,
say
though.
it. Yeah.
I know, but I'm commenting on his opinion. Jesus,
It's a little
fuck.
convoluted. I need like a Days of Future Past to fix my list. No, I don't know. Like just take the Ellen Page bias out of it, but like her scenes that she had in X3, I think, when she's like saving, I think the character's name's Leech,
Come get me, dickhead.
like the Cure.
yeah,
I'm not saying specifically her line she has, but
the
it's
meth
just like
cure maker.
the meth cure maker. No, just like the chase scene when she's running through and then she kind of just. It's so minor, but for me it just works. when she grabs Juggernaut and like pulls him to the ground or pulls him through the ground, and then when she outwits him, does his does his famous line that Travis loves. I don't know. It's just, you throw that on top of she has awesome power, go through walls and stuff, and
Stole Bobby right from Rogue.
yeah, she's
Mr. Steal Your Boy.
yeah.
Mrs. Steal Your
I
Boy.
was gonna say that, but the other way.
Sweet. Okay. So my, I guess, number 8 will be Quicksilver. Again, we kind of talked about the different scenes. Really liked him in it. Even when we get the intro to him, that's what I really like about in Days of Future Past is this sweet intro. Apocalypse still good as well too. Even when we talk about the arithmetic scene, I thought that was good. Those kind of like for me is like what X-Men is about, and that takes me out differently from the classic MCU that we've been getting from Mr. Foggy.
Feige.
What?
Feige.
Foggy?
Feige.
Not
Foggy. That's a
Foggy.
Daredevil
Foggy.
character.
You get them all mixed up. Foggy. Anyways. Just, I don't know.
Good thing this cast is ending with this episode. We're off the rails.
Oh,
Hey, we started so
Billy.
high. We've just gone deteriorating down. Continue.
My number 7 will be X-23. Travis reminded me when he said that because I totally forgot about it. But
I believe it was me, but that's
it
all
was
right.
Kirkland.
It was Kirkland? Oh, yikes. Sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry, guest 2.
It's all right, guest one.
So X-23, like just in that entire movie, just like she doesn't really talk at all until like the very end. But still, just the way that actress, like she's so young and she still can portray all these emotions and really gets you. And oh man, Logan's like the perfect movie. But
spoilers.
Spoilers for ranking. But still, I feel like I can really engage, and I feel like that's really hard to act in that way of not talking at all and just like portraying emotion, kind of like Kylo Ren in Star Wars when like through the mask when he's chatting to you and just the way not chatting, but when he's talking to
hey, what's up?
when he's interacting with the other characters and just through the mask, and you can only listen to the voice. So I find like either having no expressions at all.
Hey, you want to chat it up?
I don't
think I could hear the.
It's awful, isn't it?
You can't really hear it at all.
No.
So Travis has put on the Kylo Ren mask.
You can't even hear it on the mic.
No, you can't. Really.
And he's trying to talk in the mic for you listeners out there.
Hello.
He looks like an.
Hello.
Oh God.
Cool guy.
He wishes.
Hello.
He looks great.
That's great.
I was trying to chat as Kylo Ren.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's why X-23 is number 7 for me.
Number 6 is X-23 for me. She didn't crack the top 5, but man, she does such a good job. That's one of the main reasons why I'm excited for MCU to get Fox and X-Men, but that is a big bummer that we don't get to see more of her because they were talking about possibly doing an X-23 movie. I think she's just great. We're just in this renaissance of child actors, Stranger Things, It, and Her. Somehow these kids are actually being good. It's not back in the day when you get a kid actor like, oh boy, we roll our eyes and they can barely act, or you got to edit around them. They've done a fantastic job with her, and she did such a great job. Just all the emotions and what she can do and carry a scene with just her face. Fantastic. I think she's the best. It's tough to say, but as child actor, she's one of the top up there because she just kills it in that role. She's scary, she's intimidating, but she can have some fun when she's hanging out with Xavier. So, incredible performance. I was very pleased by it. I was very mad in Gold Geek she didn't win that year. So, big shout out to her, Daphne Keane. So,
I can go again.
Break the cycle.
wow.
Well, we already broke the cycle once.
That's
already.
true.
Yeah. So, my number 6 is Kelsey. Wow, it's Beast, but Kelsey Grammer. He's the actor.
You could have said Kelsey Grammer as Beast.
Yeah, that's
you
true
You
too.
could have saved
You know
it.
what? I wasn't thinking that in my head. Anyway, so again, we kind of talked about him. Beast, still amazing character. When I think about this X-Men series, this is the Beast that I think of, and I think he just portrays it really well. And I'm really excited that, not excited. I'm upset that we will never get to see this ever again. But that's the way she goes, I guess.
I'm really excited. We're never going to see
Wait.
this
I was like, I'm excited. Nah, I'm not really excited.
The Rate Master strikes again.
I can't believe you couldn't hear the mask. It's so disappointing.
Yeah, it is disappointing.
Sucks to suck, I guess.
I don't think I could hear it on the whatever. Following the the trend of my guest one, I'm also going to give Kelsey Grammer. I think we're on number 6.
That's
Yeah, number six.
Number
Yeah.
6, Beast. I mentioned it before on the X3 cast. He was definitely one of the bright stars in that movie. Just his look, the way he talks, he just talks with elegance. That's just shout out to Kelsey Grammer. And you know, I didn't know this before going into it, but like he really liked that role, and he really took a lot of care with it. And you know, it showed. I think I don't know, like he has such a good like set of skills going into it. Just with obviously he's a pretty top quality actor, but just like his voice and the way that he talks, and it's so great seeing like just seeing like the Beast character, but like in a suit and like being like basically like a representative for mutants and stuff, like in Congress or wherever he is. And it's just, I just really like the way that they did that, and I don't think you could really get that same effect if it isn't with like an actor of the same quality of Kelsey Grammer. So.
Well, I think Nicholas Hoult is a good actor, but I think we see that in the prequels, right? And I don't even think maybe it's just the way they write him too. That
Yeah,
he's
well,
not the greatest.
it's also like different time of his life, right? Like I'm not expecting this.
Yeah, I guess he
Thinking about it
piggybacks.
now-
Like he's very more of a mature character compared to what we get at the beginning. So
I was gonna say, thinking about it now though, it's just like it's weird when like you think of like X3's Beast. He's like so into politics, and then in like Days of Future Past First Class, he's just like a straight on scientist. Like I don't know, I don't really get off that he has these really like good like sociable, charismatic skills that you would kind of need in that political role, right? That they have Kelsey Grammer in. So looking back on it, it's kind of funny to me that they have those two as the same character, even though they're like totally different like specialities. I didn't really think about it till now, but I don't know. For me, I think it's funny.
you know, that's I think. Well, it's not really. You're not wrong, right? Because a lot of politicians, right, they start off with some sort of like educational background, and then like they get into politics afterwards.
Yeah,
So
no, it's fair.
like the timeline kind of works out, but like you're completely right though. It's kind of weird how like you get this very mature, like really thought out guy with an X 3,
Yeah.
and then meanwhile with the younger version of him, he's this very smart, kind of naive, like really worried about his looks and who he is. So
Yeah, like
Well,
insecure.
he's young, you know.
That's what I mentioned before you walked out of the room.
Just
So
saying.
thanks for that.
Just double down.
yeah,
Cool. And yeah.
Okay, so this top 5, I'm gonna warn the viewers. I imagine we're all gonna have the same top 5, but just in different orders. So I'm gonna start. I went young Professor X for this one, James McAvoy. We allowed the young and old version. So I think he does a really good job. I think there's times I've always thought of this that he does get a little outshined by Fassbender. I think with the OG ones, they're kind of on par, where I feel like in First Class he is really good. I think McAvoy is someone who gets better and better as the roles go along. And even then we talked about this in Days of Future Past, where he is playing Xavier, but he's playing such a different Xavier that it's hard to connect those two. But I think, and I guess I'm kind of roping all 3 movies, but he still does a great job. He's still somebody, if they still said, oh, would you like to bring him over to the MCU? Absolutely. I think he's fantastic. I'm excited to see what he does in Dark Phoenix, because it seems like he's going to be a lot closer to the Xavier one, because he has the school, he has the X-Men, he's fully bald now. So, yeah, I put McAvoy at number 5, young professor.
okay. My number 5, I did the same, James McAvoy as well too. The words. Same reasons as Travis. I think he did still a really good job. I feel like some other performances kind of outshined him. Otherwise, like, you know, he did have a lot of good moments though, especially in Last Stand. No, First Class. Wow, guys.
That's what they should have called this movie. X-Men Last Class.
In First Class, right, when him and Fassbender, I feel like they really shine in that movie compared to Days of Future Past, for me anyways. So, I don't know. That's why I'm going to give him number 5.
Yeah, following the trend. James McAvoy as Xavier as well. Basically everything you two fine gentlemen just said, but I remember Travis mentioning he thinks Days of Future Past is just a stronger role or a stronger performance from James McAvoy. You said that right?
Well, I think he has a lot more range.
Like no, 100%. I see those points, and to an extent I could agree. But for me personally, I like him a lot more in First Class, because I kind of like that like charmy, like cocky, like super smart. Like
I'm so groovy.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't know. Like for me, I personally like that more. Whereas when we get the Cure crackhead that we get in Days of Future Past, like obviously there's a lot more character development there because you get to see how he goes from bottom of the gutter basically to like on the rise to be becoming like the full professor that we know now. Especially when he has that interaction with his later self. But for me personally, I don't know. I like how he's like charming. He's picking up chicks with his powers, and it's just like I don't know. For me personally, I like that more. But in general, I've said it once. I'll say it again. I think that's like a perfect casting for going from Patrick Stewart's to James McAvoy for the Xavier character. Someone might bring up another character and might totally prove me wrong, but as of right now, I'm going to stand with that. And yeah, it's my number 5.
Yeah, I'd say you're both wrong about what I said. I never said that he was better in Days of Future Past. I do think he has range, but I don't think he has more range. I think it's just a different side, you know? I think the performances are equal. I think he gets to act more in Days of Future Past. No, God, don't make your face. I think they're both the same as far as performance-wise. They're on the same level in First Class and Days of Future Past. He's doing much different things. The thing is, First Class is, I think he gets a little showed up by Fassbender. And then the thing is, in Days of Future Past, he's not playing the full-on Xavier that I know and love, like what you're referring to. So, and that's why I feel like with Fassbender and First Class, we'll talk about probably at some point, it's like a pitch-perfect performance. I don't think he's ever had that because I don't think he's ever got the chance to. And that's why in Apocalypse, I don't really think it's that, and that's why I'm kind of hoping in Dark Phoenix he might get something, but I don't have much faith in that movie. So,
yeah.
Okay, let's see if this trend continues. Number 4, I'm going old Magneto. I'm going Eric Lencher, Ian McKellen. He's still great. I think where he gets, honestly, I know it's weird because some ones I'm saying, it's just one specific performance, and some are all over. I think where he does get taken out a bit is X3 hurts the character a lot, and I don't think he gets to do really much acting in there. And I don't even think it's him like, he's phoning in, he's asleep at the wheel. I think it's just that the writing is so bland that he doesn't have much to do. He gets a few scenes, but he's another pitch perfect Magneto. He's great. It's really, I think, come down to personal preference when I reveal who my number, or not even then, obviously that Patrick Stewart is higher. It's just a personal preference. I just think
Patrick Stewart's on your list?
He is. I think it's just personal preference for some reason for me, Xavier, I don't know if it's because he's in some of the movies more. Even then, he gets killed next week. I don't know. There's just something, if I had a gun to my head and you go, who do you like as better casting? Even though I think they're both pitch perfect, I go just Patrick Stewart over a little bit. But Ian McKellen nails it. He is great at dealing the right amount as far as him being my Farrell. Oh God, we're all on a roll day. My Farrell.
Yikes.
My favorite Marvel villain. The reason is, and we talked about this in the review, there's always a point to the method of his madness, right? He's not just a villain. He's not just killing people. And that's why the X3 version does suck, because, the pawns go first. You're like, oh boy. But for up to that point, the writing, his performance, he generates that in the screen. Even if X3 is not the greatest, he still can try to put forward his best foot forward of, hey, I'm a man fighting for something that's right. I'm fighting against oppression. I'm fighting for people. I'm not just trying to take over the world. I'm not just trying to detonate a bomb. Even though the next one, he is just trying to detonate a bomb, he plays it off as much more higher than just a regular old detonation. So Ian McKellen has Magneto at number 4.
Kirkland, would you like to go?
Sure. I'm going to go with old Magneto. Ian McKellen, keeping the trend. Yeah, Travis said it pretty darn well. I agree basically to everything you said. Just strong performances all around. X3, I think it's kind of a writing thing because even the scenes that maybe they're not written perfectly, he still kills. Like, he's still Magneto. He's not Ian McKellen. Like, Slays. Yeah, no, I remember being younger and just falling in love with that villain. I think it was one of the first villains. Actually, no, that's a huge lie. I don't know why I would try and say that. But caught myself there.
Why you lying?
No, but
stop fucking lying.
I love Ian McKellen and basically everything he's in, or at least everything I've seen, and he just killed it again as Magneto in this role. Love the chemistry between him and Patrick Stewart as well.
Yes.
Nice. So this is gonna be a surprise. but it's also Ian McKellen.
You dog.
I think like we have the same top 5. I'm gonna guess.
No, I think again, you guys hit it all. There's not really much else to say. His performances between him and Patrick Stewart when they're playing chess at the end of one of you guys will help me out here. My hands up.
X1
is just like and explaining himself that I think when we rewatch the to do this for the retrospective, I think that's what really hit me as how much I really like this character of what he's doing. And how he portrays it, and that for me rekindled the whole like, oh, this is like the Magneto that I know of, and I feel like a lot of people could say the same as when they think of Magneto. A lot of it, like a lot of people will still say Fassbender, but I think majority will still think Ian McKellen. So
yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yep, that's my number.
Not you though, based on your list, I would imagine.
Correct.
Yeah, but when you think of Magneto,
but when you think
first
of
name
Magneto,
that comes to your
I
mind.
do think of Fassbender
Yeah?
now.
Okay.
Oh,
Now.
do you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I still have that Ian McKellen. I think.
I have the Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart always
Yeah.
combo.
Yeah,
It's
I'd agree.
tough because I guess I
get
think
there.
it's almost like a 50-50 though, because
Yeah.
sometimes I think of McKellen just because the character in comics animation is usually older,
Yeah.
so I don't think of Fassbender. But I think that could change again if they do it in MCU
They're
if
not
he's
gonna do
younger.
an MCU.
What?
Oh, like just that younger
Well,
Magneto?
they're gonna do Magneto in the MCU one day.
One day.
Yeah, and I just don't know
Phase
what
4.
version they go for. Yeah, why did you say no? They're not gonna do it.
I don't know.
Kirkland, you start because I've always gone. So what's your number 3?
Ooh, switching the trend again. All right. This is, I think, where we're going to differ. My number 3 is Fassbender's Magneto. No, it's an honor to be on my top 3 list, so shouts out to Fassy. No, it's just, I had to throw him, just comparing him to Ian McKellen, I just feel like we get a lot more acting, like out of Fassbender, like emotional scenes. Especially like thinking about Apocalypse. I almost forgot about that scene with his family. Like,
Oh, yeah.
fuck, I got chills just thinking about it. But like,
Woof.
he's just that character. Like, he's tortured. Obviously, like you get to see some of that from Ian McKellen. Like when they do when they do call back to it. Or, jeez, I'm choosing the wrong words here.
Flashback.
When they do flashbacks. Thank you, Travis. You helped me out of drowning that time, but not earlier. Well, that's all right.
That's a different cast.
But no, like you get some tortured Magneto from the Ian McKellen, but I feel like it's just taken to a whole nother level with Fassbender, and he just knocks out of the park with his emotion and the level of acting that guy can portray. Throw that in was just a handsome looking guy. And
Great style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, man, that 60s attire, even the 70s, but man, that 60s when he's rocking those turtlenecks. Oh, I feel like he should just rock those nowadays when he's hitting the red carpet.
Oh yeah.
Some checkered pants. Yeah. Turtleneck. No, I've grown to love Fassbender so much, especially like doing this cast because it's been a reoccurring actor that's come up. But everything I've seen him in, I've absolutely loved. He's just such a phenomenal actor. And
Even Assassin's Creed.
I've never seen that movie, so I
lucky.
am going to stand by what I said.
Yeah.
Also, like, is he, what's his nationality? I want to say
Scottish.
Oh yeah, eh? I was
Yeah.
gonna say like his German lines, like he sounds fluent. He might be.
He
but
might be. Yeah.
He's
That or
such a talented
voiceover.
guy. Voiceover, like a dub. He just moves his mouth and someone else is talking. But no, he's just like learning that. I honestly thought he was like either I don't know Swedish or German, just from like his lines that he delivers. It's just sounds so authentic, and he's just such a talented guy. So shouts out to him.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, I'm actually also going to say Fassbender as well,
Wow,
too.
you
My man.
bastard.
Guessed one, my man.
We on the same page.
Yeah.
No, only kind of same thing that Kirkland has said as well, too. I think to kind of go back, like with Ian McKellen, like with the earlier X-Men movies, that was kind of product of its time, classic. But actually, though, where he doesn't really get as much to play with the character, and there's a lot to do with more of the writing compared to the movies that we get now, where we get the Dark Knight, where there's a lot more character development happening. We want to know more and more of the reasons behind each move. And Fassbender gets that opportunity to get that, and that's why I'm giving him the edge for all of this. Again, he did a stellar job, even with his accents, like each scene, like he really pulls out the emotions, and I really like the young version of Magneto that he plays. So they're both amazing. It's just this one gets a little bit edge only because he gets more to work with essentially. And the other thing I wanted to say about Fassbender as well too is what I forgot, but I'll remember it later. But again, amazing.
He's half German, half Irish.
Okay.
That
That makes sense. How he's pretty fluent in that.
So yeah, I'll be the outlier. Put Professor X here, and this is when we're talking about who we think of. I think of him over McAvoy every time. I think he does a perfect job. Obviously, you have a range of emotions from he plays a great leader to someone that is very lost in Logan, and Patrick Stewart does a phenomenal job in Logan. Logan is one of, if not my favorite comic movies. It's top 3 for sure. And the range he has in that is nuts. And it's great because you get to see him really disheveled and really fallen down from where he was, where he's just this very well put together, confident, strong leader that helps people, is caring. And then in Logan, he still has those qualities, but it's much broken and he's just holding on by a string. So wherever he is, he's doing a great job, even if it's a Days of Future Past where he has very little screen time. But he does a really good job, and it's unfortunate that we won't see. Well, obviously, I know in Logan we got our goodbye already, but still, it is. I could always take more Patrick Stewart as Xavier. So
cool. Well, going on the lines, my number 2 is Xavier, so I'll just ride that tide. Same thing when I think of Professor X. That's exactly who I think of. I don't know. There's just an elegance to him. I kind of touched upon with like James McAvoy, but like with Patrick Stewart, Sir Patrick Stewart, he's just like he just takes us to a whole nother level, and like he just feels like the guy that he just always has answers, and like he's always open to listening, takes in every little orphan mutant, and he's just so caring. And it's just like just thinking back to when we just had our Days of Future Past cast, like that conversation that he has with his younger self and explaining like just like the beauty of having that burden of constantly like hearing everyone's like thoughts and everything. It's just it just totally made me like think of that character differently. And I feel like you can't have an X-Men movie without like Charles Xavier, but just like the Patrick Stewart Charles Xavier that we got. It was just a once in a lifetime casting, I think, or like for a perfect casting of the older Charles. Obviously, we get like the younger James McAvoy, who he does a really good job, but I can't picture anyone of the older Charles that I think most people like grew up around, especially in the comics and stuff. It's just I can't say much more for him. He's just perfect casting.
Yeah. Jumping on this bandwagon as well too. My number 2 is Patrick Stewart. Again, same thing what these boys said. When you think of X-Men, you think of like a couple main characters, and he's like probably your number 1 or your number 2 that you think of when people say that in the mainstream anyways. Again, does a bang up job on everything he's done. He also gets a lot more screen time, I think, than a lot of others characters. But as well, and I think that maybe the biggest thing for me is Logan. Like, I think that movie is just like unreal, and just the way he portrays like a different type of Professor X that we're used to, of like someone who's like very calm and knowledgeable and has his stuff together, and seeing that as just like a completely broken down, like hurt man, and who's confused and going through a lot. And I like that movie. I just think about it, just like really tears at my heartstrings the entire time. So.
Yeah, especially like his send off with Logan, like his death scene. It's just like that character, along with Hugh Jackman, has been with us the whole ride since the first X-Men. So like that, just having him in there with like on the movie Logan with Hugh Jackman, it's just
agreed.
Makes me emotional.
So not much more to add to that.
My number 2. Pyro. I love Pyro. No, I have Fassbender in there also. We all know what number 1 is. But Fassbender, he's phenomenal. I've said it when we did First Class. That was the movie that made me fall in love with him as far as the man crush. I saw him and it's just like, man, this guy's just such a goddamn good actor. And I hope his career turns around and he gets a better agent, because he's just been in some trash lately. And that guy should have a bunch of Oscars. He should already have 1 Oscar, but Jared Leto is, I don't know, he bought an Oscar or something. I don't know. He's a pain in the butt. He did not deserve that Oscar. Fassbender as Magneto. Leto beat him for an Oscar, and it was not well deserved at all, in my opinion. It was
We didn't ask. That's okay.
but I get the face is ass. The face is ass. If you look at his journey, I think that's the top reason why he gets put here is just because you look at number one, he is in First Class. He's a falling hero. He is a hero in that movie. He does do some bad things eventually, but it all just is he's torn in that movie, right? He is on the heroic side, but then he falls down. And just that he does such a good job of making you care, and he's sympathetic. But then when that turn happens, you believe him. Like I said on that review in Days of Future Past, he is to me the full-on villain form of Magneto. He is just nothing's gonna stop me. I need to protect my people, and if you're in my way, I'm gonna crush you. And then in Apocalypse, which to me is the only reason why, not the only reason, but the thing I always look forward to the most, the only thing I'd say is great in that movie is his arc, because he is just this tortured soul who's trying to redeem himself, who has his family, he's trying to build himself up. And it is also, I think, because that's why he's higher than me. I think Xavier, you can't make the case in Logan, but for at least McKellen doesn't get these juicy scenes. I think McKellen could do them, but the scenes of him losing his family, or the scenes of him with the coin trick, or just even taking out those Nazis, or in Days of Future Past, when it is a simple scene of him taking out the president and everything, but he's so strong, and he just feels like a comic book villain ripped off the screen. He is just up there. I know Thanos is all the craze, and I'm not going to say he's better than Thanos, but he is in that discussion to me when people talk about Ledger. He's up there in that top 5 for me. I think he still is. I'd have to really make a list, but he's up there for comic book villains because he just nails it. Where I think McKellen is maybe in a top 10, but there's just something about Fassbender, how he can just go back from being completely scary to sympathetic to you cheering for him in just an instant, and he's just he's a phenomenal actor. I can never say enough good things about Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right on. All right, here we are.
Number one.
Nice. Good work, guys.
I honestly can just say it's Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I think I've talked about him enough in these episodes, so I'm not going to rail him on anymore. It's just, for me, it's just
His body, the chocolate,
everything from, and because we have
bacon.
talked about him so much, because he was at X1 and he's been in the majority of his films. Even he was in First Class for a second. He's just perfect. He just is. I've talked about him in many other casts. I know other people have other different versions of Wolverine. The Wolverine that I have in my mind of what I would imagine, that's Wolverine. He has the attitude, he has the badassery, he has the kickassery, but then he also has that tortured soul aspect, which I like. I think lots of people forget that. I think lots of people just want Wolverine to be the, cigar chomping badass who's trying to hook up with young girls. There's so many times where Logan in the comics just collapses in tears because he's a shit life, and he really does. And I really, really am very curious when we get to casting Wolverine and how that's gonna go. I feel very sorry for whatever actor has to take on that burden, because they have to find someone really damn good to get anywhere close, because I think he's just perfect. From same thing as other ones I've mentioned from animated series or comics. That's just, to me, Wolverine. It's he's perfection. They nailed it. So yeah.
Before me or guest one goes, I just wanted to ask you, for the recasting of that role eventually, do you think like they might even just try and do something totally different with that character? Like he's not even like the front runner of that.
Or not even use Wolverine, use other characters.
Well, yeah, there's always a chance you go the X-23 route. I've always said that when they do an X-Men movie, I think the first one you won't have Wolverine. I think they're going to make people wait for a while. Logan happened. I think they're going to want you to... No one's going to forget about Hugh Jackman, but to not have that so in your mind. Yeah. It's always going to be there, but... I predict the first X-Men movie will not have Wolverine. They're going to try to...
That would be hard for like the next actor to come in and take up that role as well, too. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I was just, wanted to ask.
It's going to be tough.
Go ahead.
All right, thanks, guest one. I'm going to go with Logan as my number one. Like we've all discussed throughout this entire retro, said it an infinite amount of times, but just pitch perfect casting is just when you think of Hugh Jackman, like I honestly just think of like Wolverine at this point. It's same thing with like Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man. It's just like he's just grown with that role so much that when I look at him, that's the first thing that comes to my mind, really. Maybe not if he's doing his Australian accent. That kind of throws me off. But no, it's just, we've mentioned it so many different times, but just his look and his, like the way he just, I don't know, acts out the action scenes and like the anger that he shows. He's just phenomenal. Like I could talk for a year. We could probably all talk for a year about this casting on him, but we've already mentioned it so much on the retro. There's only so much you can say.
It's not enough you can say.
That's right. There's not enough you could say. But I don't have infinite time, so I'll just pitch it over to Kyle. Close us off.
Nice. So, surprise, surprise. My number one is Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool. I know, like...
From Origins.
From Origins. No, my number one's Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, we didn't include... Everyone's asking for the Deadpool characters. We didn't include Deadpool because it was an X-Men retro, and Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds seems to be that he's going to live on in the Disney world, so...
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, they confirmed it with me, actually.
Good.
That's a lie. They didn't do anything. No, anyway, so yeah, again, Hugh Jackman, amazing.
I think they knew you were lying. I don't think you need to clarify.
Well, I'm just making sure. Again, we've beat this to death, but still, you can't beat it enough. Mr. Jackman kills it. You think X-Men, you think Wolverine, basically. And just the range they allow him to have, and yeah, you follow his entire story the whole way through. And Logan, amazing. Can't speak of it even more.
Origins.
He actually does not too bad in Origins for what he's given, so he was the best part of Origins, really. Yeah, I don't know. We have lots more to talk about, but I'll leave it there.
Yeah, like I just wanted to quickly mention too is thinking about this character. I was first introduced to just Wolverine, like the comic book character from the first X-Men movie. My dad told me about him before we went and saw this movie, and my dad was super hyped on him because he like read the comics and stuff. So it's, I don't know, maybe you can consider just like something of like passing the torch down. Like my dad like introducing me to this character, and this is the one I grew up with. So it's just, he's got a special place in my heart for sure.
I really want a Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman movie, though.
I know,
Yeah.
I do too, but I think we're past it, unfortunately. We're really past it. Movies now?
Yeah, let's do movies.
Yeah, for most of these, I'm not going to say anything because you can go back to the retro. This is just the official ranking. Last place, you got to put Logan. You know, it's just so sad. No, last place is Origins. I think we've talked about that enough. It's just a very disappointing film all around.
I'm on the same boat. That was so awful to watch. I think when you go to that cast, like, I have never been so confused in my life.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, no, same. Origins. It was one of those movies that I didn't think I had watched it before, and yet it was still so hard to get through because I didn't know what was coming, and I still was not interested.
It's just a product of its time.
I don't think it is.
That can't. Any movie after The Dark Knight, you can no longer say product of its time. 2008, we got the first Iron Man and Dark Knight, and then we got in 2009 or Wolverine Origins. So Kyle says he has 10 films on his list, even though there is only 9. So I'm still excited that. So my 8th pick is X-Men 3. I think we talk.
No, I have 10.
I know, but there's only 9.
What am I missing?
Or what do you add? Yeah. X3, I think it's, I definitely disliked it a lot more than these two. But,
Am I getting that mixed up?
what? What are you saying over there?
Speaking
Talking
of
to your mic. The listeners already know you screw up, so you can't say. Are you asking?
No, they don't know they screwed up. You guys know I screwed up.
Are you?
I'm just confirming
I'm
that.
calling you out. Are you asking if X3 and The Last Stand are separate movies?
No, they're the same movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There's 9.
So you had them as separate movies?
No, I had them together. There's 9 movies. I miscounted.
No, he had them separately.
No.
Too bad. I
Not
wanted to
at all.
ask him what movie was The Last Stand, what was the X3, and have that epiphany as he describes the exact same movie. Or he thinks the X3 movie is just the Dark Phoenix movie, and Last Stand's the Cure movie, and that's why.
It could be.
Yeah, this is not a great movie. There's some good performances in there. Jackman's in there. Some good moments with Xavier dying and Beast, but yeah, it's definitely second to last for me.
Yeah, same movie. X3 for me. X3 Last Stand, to be specific.
I think the ratings will be pretty similar. We'll have a few changes, but I think there's a clear quality in these movies.
Yeah, no, I feel like we all kind of agreed on that type of quality too.
Yeah.
Like Travis mentioned, there's some like little like light patches that shine through, but overall it was just a shitstorm.
Same.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Not great.
X3 Last Stand still number 8, I guess we're at. So nothing much more to add. You know, I didn't mind the movie. I thought there's some still like good qualities in the movie.
Still your second last, though.
Still my second last though. There's a lot better.
Some
other
great Ellen
movies.
Page, Kitty.
All right, yeah.
Scenes.
Top 10 worthy. Yeah, my lucky number 7, Apocalypse. That is, I can watch that. I think it's the exact same as X3. I think it's better than X3, but I think it's the same thing where it's kind of a messy movie with some great moments there, particularly Fassbender saving the day. So.
Particularly,
And
yes.
a great Wolverine scene in there as well.
The true escape scene.
Yeah,
is what
even
it
though
should
it's not
be.
a whole movie, he has the whole helmet. He gets a moment with young Jean Grey, which I like because it's kind of creepy that she's so young, but he still should have a moment with her. So that scene again that's perfect in a movie that's not perfect.
Yeah.
I'll jump on that bandwagon. My number 7 is also Apocalypse.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know. I found it a hard watch, but still a little bit better than X3. So, why are you looking at me like that in the mic?
I'm not. I'm just intensely listening to you.
Okay. So, anyways, yeah.
Engaged listener.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So there's some definitely great moments, especially when Fassbender, Howard makes same thing. Magneto deals with his whole family dying in front of him. I think that's incredible. Like it's very heart wrenching. So again, but there's other parts where it's just like, what are we doing in this movie? So yeah, that's my number 7.
Yeah, my number 7's Apocalypse as well. I feel like it was just a big letdown. It was
Very forgettable.
It was.
I'm gonna watch again before Dark Phoenix, just because obviously it's the
Yeah.
intro into it. But
Yeah, no, it was such a letdown for me because before going into this movie, I didn't know much about Apocalypse, and I was like looking into this character and like realizing that he's basically a god and like such a powerful character. You think he's gonna be a part of like this series for like, I don't know, longer than one movie, and they just kill him off in such a anticlimactic way.
And they introduced Dark Phoenix right away.
Yeah.
Jean Grey, first movie back as young Jean Grey. How she be Apocalypse? She turns into Dark Phoenix. Oh boy! And now we're getting Dark Phoenix. So
Yeah, that was a couple bright patches in there, kind of like how I did my analogy for X3, but it was another shitstorm.
So let's see if this is where we deviate here.
I think we might, yeah.
So this one was tough for me. These two I went back and forth. The only reason I gave this one the bump now being down is just because the third act is very bad, is the Wolverine. So I think the Wolverine, the first act, the first half, is so much better than I won't reveal what's up next. It's so much better than that. But because and it's this could be literally in any day. I could say that I think I would prefer to watch this movie more. Yeah, it's tough. I would prefer to watch this movie than my next pick because I think it is. You see shades of Logan. You see what they're going for before they got to Logan. But it's just that ending we talked about. It just goes into comic book chaos where it just feels like Origins again, where there's just random characters. There's Viper being Snake Lady. There's twists that aren't like they're twists, but it's just like I'm the evil uncle. Like it just deteriorates so quickly from this is a great character study to boom. So that's the only reason why I think I would prefer to watch this movie over my 6th pick, but it's just I couldn't give it over because the 6th one I think is a more complete movie, and I'll refer back to that when I get to 6. So I put the Wolverine just because that last third act, what's going on with her ex-boyfriend, I don't know. There's just so much. Where did they get all this adamantium to make this suit? It's one thing after another, just dominoes after dominoes, which sucks because the first act of that movie is great. Just him being homeless, him trying to work through Jean's death, fantastic. So.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in front of Kyle here.
Do it.
Funny, I thought we were going to deviate. Did not. Wolverine was my pick. I thought you might go X-Men because I know how you're saying you really liked the Wolverine, but good explanation there. And I totally agree with what you said. Like the first beginning of this movie, it's phenomenal. Yeah. Like it could probably like beat a few other ones, like not just the number 6 pick, but number 5.
If we compare just beginnings, if we said take the first half of a movie, this would be maybe 2 or 3 on my list, but unfortunately we're not doing just first half list.
Yeah, it's so phenomenal. Like everything you mentioned, just like Hobo Logan, just going through his issues of getting over Jean. It's just so good. I liked all the callback stuff that they did with Jean Grey, even though I didn't particularly like that character that much, or what they did with her Dark Phoenix. But seeing those flashbacks in this movie, it kind of made it a little bit better, and it made this movie good. So, but yeah, the ending was just another shitstorm. It just a whole lot of not making sense. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. So yeah, it's my number 6 pick.
My number 6 actually X2.
Whoa, that's super low. Wow.
What?
Teach their own.
X2? I'm
That's
surprised.
not that low.
I think so.
Number 6.
Number 6.
I
10?
do.
I mean,
where
yeah.
I have it,
At
yes.
At a 9.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 9. Sorry.
It's your opinion. I'm just saying. To me, that's very low. I'm
It's surprising,
surprised. It's a surprise.
Oh.
You got Stryker in there. You got the great Nightcrawler scene. Got
The incredible Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Oh, now you guys are like reconvincing me out of this.
You got Lady
I don't wanna
Deathstrike
peer
versus
pressure you.
Wolverine. No. Tell us why it's so low.
The escape scene was pretty shitty,
low?
so it could be down there.
Man, it's at 60%.
No, that's not the way that
It's at
works.
it's at 30%. Damn it. Crap. No, I still. Now you guys are making me
no.
rethink this.
Peer pressure.
Oh no,
I
the
should've said
peer
that after.
pressure. No, I thought it was still a good movie. Don't get me wrong.
So that I'm not saying you're saying it's a bad movie. Why would you put this below some of the other ones? Maybe I'll phrase it that way.
Why?
Because obviously I won't say what order they're in, but you got Wolverine, you got X-Men, you got First Class, Days of Future Past, Logan. Why is X2 below those?
Why is X2 below
Yeah.
those? For me, like I still like X2. The only reason why it's kind of below those, well, it's not really why it's just because there's other parts of those other movies that I like more than this.
Okay, fair enough.
And that's kind of, we'll get to it when we get there. But at this point, I still really like the movie. Don't get me wrong. It's not wrong. Like all these like next ones were kind of difficult. Like they can all mission match and go up and down. This doesn't really matter. But at this point in time, that's what I'm sticking to.
Bold move.
Way to stick with your guns. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
He almost didn't.
I almost did.
He was getting pretty shaky there.
I'm going X-Men Now. That's the one I was referring to earlier. I think
X-Men Now?
X-Men Now, like at 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was like, is there a 10th movie?
That's
I
the
didn't
first X-Men was called X-Men Now.
I was like, wait, what?
So much marketing. Go see it now.
Yeah.
There's not a better time than now. X-Men Now. Yeah, I think it's a solid movie. I think it's not the most rewatchable because I think at times it is, a product of its time. It's a little slower. But like I said, I think the Wolverine, that first half is really better than anything that happens here. But this is just a better, more solid movie. He doesn't take too many huge risks. Ian McKellen, we talked about him. He's great in this movie. Great introduction to him and Charles' relationship. It moves very fast, and we don't learn a lot about the other X-Men other than Wolverine. Scott Storm is kicking around. You got the Senator Kelly business. But yeah, so I gave the edge just because I think it was a better, well-rounded movie. And the end didn't go into chaos.
Cool. Yep. Same thing. The original X-Men 2000.
X-Men Now.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun discussing this one, the product of its time. And this is just such a nostalgia movie for me. I think that's why it's so high on this list. I remember like rewatching this movie. It was the first time I ever really heard about like the X-Men. So it was just great, like getting introduced to these characters for the first time. And when you get introduced to a character through like a specific movie, like when you see those actors, like that's who you see as those characters. So that I think that's why like Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen just found a special place in my heart for them. Because obviously you get people like Scott who kind of looks cool. So maybe when I was younger, like I guess he looks cool, but like
Fill her up.
yeah, but like when you're I don't know, older and wiser, and you look back on it, it's just like, oh yeah, I don't know. I guess he kind of looked cool, but holy shit, what an empty character he is.
He didn't act cool.
Yeah. Yeah, but like overall, I remember when we were doing our ratings for this one, you guys were pretty shocked with my rating, but I actually really, really like this movie, and I could easily rewatch it again. So yeah,
Fair
number
enough.
5.
So my number 5 is...
Or is it number 6? Did I just throw everyone off? I think it was number 5.
It's 5.
Okay,
5,
thank you.
yeah. My 5 is the Wolverine, only because the beginning of it is what I really enjoyed about the movie, and it had a lot of elements of Logan to it. And yeah, the ending kind of fell apart, but I feel like all these like early movies as well too, there's always parts of it that didn't really work, but we still accepted it anyways. So this is why Wolverine for me is my number 5.
What's your number 4, Kyle? I want to throw a curveball because me and Kirkland have been pretty similar. So
My number 4 is X1.
okay, X-Men Now. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're calling it that.
Yeah, we are.
X-Men now. Same reasons you guys said. I think this is like the original. It's kind of, it's kind of. I like the cheese out of it.
Why is it cheesy, Kyle?
Why is it cheesy?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just like the lines they have in like some of the lines, like the way they treat Scott and like the back and forth between Wolverine and Scott.
Why do you think it's so cheesy?
Nah, man. It's just 2000s.
He's setting you up with like
Setting you
fastballs down the middle.
Oh,
You're missing-
I know. He's setting me up for this product of its time, and you just gotta love it.
Ayo.
Ayo, hit that one on like ball 3. No, again, it's still a great. It's a good movie. It's a great. Well, yeah. I have nothing else to say. It's amazing. So,
All right. So I think
listen to our cast.
I think this is gonna be the point to see if this is where me and Kirkland deviate. So my next one, number 6, or really number 4, it's the 4th best one. That's what I'm saying. Is X-Men First Class. This one to me I've talked about my love of the Fassbender moments. This is pretty much a tie for what my film is next up, and I just went with what is more rewatchable, and I like more of the characters. I will say this, I always put the caveat of, I think this is a better movie than what my number 3 is, but this time I went with what's more rewatchable. It's the same way as I think Spider-Man 2 is a better movie, but I like Spider-Man 1 a lot better. Spider-Man 1, though, is a lot more cheesy. It's not as well acted. Spider-Man 2 has better action scenes, but there's just something about Spider-Man 1 that I really like. That's the way I go with this one. I'll get into what my number 3rd choice is. But First Class, great movie. Fun. I like all these movies from the Wolverine and up. The rest of them, even Apocalypse, is fine. I don't think it's like the worst ever one, but it's not a good movie. But I think I still gave like a 7 when I reviewed it. It's fine. It's like a fine movie. So
Yeah. All right. Breaking the trend. X-Men First Class. Just kidding. Got all of you. I don't know how we got the same one. I thought we were totally going to be different, but I think like going into like looking at the list originally before we rewatched them, I probably would have put this higher like in my memories, but I remember when we did the review just rewatching it, and then the issues I had with like Hank and
you're pretty down on it.
Yeah, the Jennifer Lawrence stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, like it's a really fun movie, especially like I said, like all the James McAvoy and the Fassbender stuff, like the younger versions of those characters, I really really liked. But yeah, rewatching it again, it just I don't know, it kind of diluted my joyness and happiness for this movie, but obviously it's number 3 on my list?
4.
Number 4 on my list. So obviously it's broke top 5, and I do really, really like this movie, and I still think it's a higher quality of movie than the original X-Men. That's why I put it on there. Or sorry, that's why I put it higher than the original X-Men. But yeah, I had a couple issues with it. That's why it's number
4. So I guess I'll go for 3 here.
Ooh, starting us off.
Yeah, so 3 is First Class for me. I think there's lots of elements in this movie that's amazing. You know, you have the new younger Magneto and Professor X characters, which are great. And you know, when they introduce them, I think it's still they did an amazing job, especially with Fassbender's role there. I guess he just has a lot more to play with, but I thought that was really good. Even the villain. Kevin Bacon, that's not the villain's name, but that's the actor's name.
Sebastian Shaw.
Sebastian Shaw, I think that was really good as well too. Yeah, there's some elements that, you know, wasn't the greatest, like we kind of mentioned to Jennifer Lawrence, but maybe it's more of the writing.
I don't agree with them, so I'll just say that.
Okay.
Did you say you do agree with us?
I don't. I don't want to be in this we. I think that's her best performance in the series.
Okay.
Did I say we?
Yeah, you did. You said that we've talked about.
I thought he was talking about like
no,
me and
like,
him though.
Like no, we've talked about like in general.
You said that, and then you said like Jennifer Lawrence. I just want to make sure that I wasn't, because you know there's some person that tuned into this and not any of the other reviews.
Oh.
I want them to know that I'm supporting of J Law in First Class. I think she just starts to downhill.
Oh, wait, well, I'm not saying like she's a bad actress. I'm just saying that the writing wasn't.
Yeah, Kyle,
1 out of 10
Cast,
actress.
just trashes all the time. Like, oh, she's in a movie.
I think
hate
it's
that
just the
movie.
writing for her wasn't the greatest, and what they did with the character. So
1 out of 10.
1 out of 10. But yeah, no. First Class is my number 3.
What's your 3rd one, Kirkland?
X2. Yeah. I absolutely love this movie. This, funny enough, going back to my days of future past for me, this was the very first DVD I ever owned.
Wow.
My family got a DVD player for Christmas one year and opened up my present. It was X2. My sister's was Finding Nemo. Nice. So I was so stoked. It was the first time I had watched it too. I don't know. I guess we just didn't go to movies really, but I
absolutely trust you.
I absolutely love this movie. I think it was another one of those nostalgic effects just because I had rewatched the first movie so many times. So obviously when this came out, I was just so like over the moon to go see my favorite, like, I don't know, superheroes. Because like what at the time, I think it was Spider-Man out when this one came out?
Yes, Spider-Man
Okay.
1 it came out, and then Spider-Man 2 came out a year after this movie. So
Okay.
they're trading like back to back.
Okay, so I guess my love for X-Men was probably a little bit diluted by that Spider-Man release because I absolutely love that movie too. But this one, it just, there's so many great moments. There's, like I already mentioned, like the whole Nightcrawler intro scene. It's just, to this day, it's so memorable to me. And just all the stuff with Logan's background and the Stryker, like villain in there. And then you have Stryker's son, who's a little weirdo in that movie. But I don't know, just the
Jason,
whole...
stop it! Just those awkward scenes with him and Professor.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like maybe the
No,
thing
Jason.
that take it down was a bit of that Professor stuff, just because I don't know. I had always seen the Professor as such a different character to what he was in this movie, but overall, I absolutely love this movie, and I could rewatch it like any time really.
Yeah, that's my number 3 as well. I just always laugh at that. Jason, stop it! No, like he does nothing in this movie. Him and Cyclops.
Him and Scott, yeah.
Yeah, just relegated to shit all. But for me, it's the two things of one. I guess I remember. I think he is good in X-Men, but I think X2 is he kicks down the door and Hugh Jackman's like, I'm Wolverine. That's, to me, puts him over the pinnacle. I've talked about before, I love when Jean dies. That Scott and Wolverine moment. And Wolverine in the X-Mansion, I absolutely love him just tearing through people. It's just a great build-up. I think this is why they go back to Weapon X so much in the series, because they knocked out of the park, and whenever they need something, we'll get in Stryker, we'll bring Weapon X, because it works so well in this movie. I think in the other movies it gets a little forced in, but in this movie it was a great plot device to move our heroes forward, and we get the, like I've talked about in that review, classic heroes and villains teaming up. That's always a good time.
Yeah.
So X2 I put over First Class just because it's a bit more rewatchable for me and has better bigger moments in it, even though I think First Class is a better made movie in my opinion.
I could agree with that.
Are we on 2?
We're on 2.
Dos.
2 for me.
I think we all have the same 2 and 1. So
no, because I didn't pick X2 for number 2.
no, we just did. That was our 3.
Oh, that was your 3?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm so ahead of you guys.
Yeah, you are.
End of the game.
Okay, Kirkin can go first.
You even
number
have
2.
10. You have another one.
I think we all. I don't think
Number
you gotta
2,
play
Days of
Koi.
Future Past.
Yeah.
Mine's Days of Future
Same
Past. Yeah.
here.
Yeah, this
We
is
just talked about it.
definitely my favorite like interpretation of like the younger cast, and then you throw in like the factor of having the older cast in there too. It's basically like
Best of both worlds.
yeah, it's like you said, it's their version of the
Montana.
Avengers, right? Of
Yeah.
getting this super team together. So I just loved it. I think other than like if you don't think of Logan, I think this is Wolverine, like Hugh Jackman's best role as Wolverine. Obviously, if you disregard Logan, but it's just I don't know. I loved everything about him. I loved his body, loved his booty, loved his hair. Just he looked so
Travis?
great.
I'm working on the booty. I'm working on to be Canadians. That's Canada's ass, you know.
Yeah, there you go.
Working on it.
But yeah, no, I loved all of his lines, like his persona, his just attitude. It's a little bit different from like the OG Wolverine that we got, where he was just kind of like always the same. Because this one he kind of acts like a professor to the professor in a way. So, but I really like seeing that the different side to what we've always been seeing. So, and just all the stuff with Fassbender, McAvoy, we just talked about this movie. So
Yeah. Go check our review.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm same. Days of Future Past for number 2. It's amazing. It's great. No, there's a lot of
It's good.
No, it really, like, for me, again, like what we talked about in the cast, it ties up a lot of loose ends, and it makes more sense. It's a lot easier to watch, and I find it very watchable, like rewatchable, I should say.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And it doesn't really get that old at all. Like, I think the bit of for me is the ending is not the... I'm not a big fan of the fight scene at the end, but...
Couldn't have pulled that when we reviewed the movie.
No, I couldn't have at all, because I thought about it after we finished the movie. Yeah. No. Again, it's still a very good movie. Really liked it, and that's my number 2. You can listen to our cast on it.
Number 1, the obvious, Logan.
Did you say your points on Days of Future Past?
I have nothing other than I think it is the best X-Men movie. I think it's just as good as I said this on the review. Just to restate, I think it's just as good as some MCU movies. If I had to look at my top 10 MCU movies, it's still definitely in there, so it's comparable to me. I think it's just that good mix of drama and action and quippiness. I think it's just the right amount of comedy. The way MCU hits it. There's certain movies, like I've always said before, where Doctor Strange too much humor. I feel like this is one of those better ones, and whenever they make an X-Men film, I won't expect the first X-Men film to be this good, because this was what we said X-Men 3 ended in 2006, and this came out 8 years later, so it had a lot of build up. So for me, it just was the coalescing of all the storylines together. That's how it worked. So I will not hold the first few Marvel X-Men films to that standard, but once we get moving around, that's when I will. Kind of, to me, this is their Endgame. I think Logan is a better movie, but it has that Endgame effect where we just saw Endgame. It just felt like the ending of an era. That's what this felt like. And then they went on and they made Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix and Logan. And luckily, some things I'm happy they made. And I'm happy they still made them all, because even if I'm not a huge fan of Apocalypse, it's still another Fassbender and, McAvoy playing these characters. So, yeah, I think it's the perfect X-Men film we've got so far, because I have zero problems with it. Other than the Mystique ending, just bugs me every time, but not enough for me to take a whole point off. So
That's probably what I should have mentioned on the review. To like Kyle,
maybe
hindsight's 2020. Alrighty, I'll start off because I probably have the least amount to say. Logan, number 1. I think I've only seen this movie once.
Wow,
and in theaters. Big mistake for sure. It's definitely overdue. Maybe we should have threw it on the retro. Hey, I would have watched it.
But on Netflix, I'm pretty sure, isn't it?
What?
Isn't it on Netflix still? Or they took it off?
I don't
this
know.
time of the recording.
Logan's the last Blu-ray I ever bought.
Oh.
Wow. I had to
Steel
make sure
case?
I had that. Oh yeah.
Oh man, you're going big with the steel case.
No, maybe not.
This guy's
I
dripping
thought I
in the gold.
But yeah, I made sure. If I really love a movie, I'll get that physical media.
Yeah. No, this movie. I think Travis was talking a lot about it going into it, and I kind of did a little bit of research going into it about like the whole Old Man Logan like saga or storyline. Thank you. But yeah, I blew every single expectation I had out of the water for this movie. It was such an emotional roller coaster. I was not expecting to cry going into this, but it hit me so hard. Like it wasn't even this like the Logan send off. It was the Professor send off. It was just so powerful, and just so many like plot twists that happen, especially like when you think Logan's in the bedroom with Professor, but then it's X24. Yeah, X24. Thank you. And it's just it just blew my mind. I was like jaw to the floor when that happened, and then you just throw in everything afterwards. The beautiful. It's like a perfect send off. I was about to compare it to Endgame, but I didn't want to send any spoilers for those that haven't seen it, so I'll leave it at that. It's just great movie.
Good conclusion.
I think it's a perfect conclusion for Hugh Jackman, and it's the conclusion that he deserves, because he did such a phenomenal role, or such a phenomenal job as that role.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Logan as well too. I think for me, when we first saw the poster for this movie, Travis and we cast about this, and we were like, "What? Like this? We haven't even seen a trailer for this, and we were already hyped AF
It's the
for
poster
this."
when it's just his claws are out, and there's obviously we knew at that we didn't know at that point, but it was X23 holding his hand. So
yeah, it was it holding the hand or holding the claw?
Holding the hand.
Holding the
well,
hand.
all the claws were out.
Well, the claws were out. Yeah. Anyways, like we were hyped from that moment. We're like, okay, this movie is gonna be good. Like we haven't even seen a trailer. Then we saw the trailer, like, oh my goodness, like this is gonna hit another level. And then even when we went to the theaters and watched it, still didn't expect that at all from the trailer. Like we had no idea what we were getting, but we knew it might be a little bit more dramatic. But I don't even know if we
hoped. You never know.
We hoped. We never knew.
Could have been a Wolverine.
I think we just got like I think BVS came out around the same time, didn't it?
That was 27. No, it came out a whole year before.
A year before.
Yeah.
Okay, but still, just the hype going into it, and then once we got the movie, it was just amazing. I couldn't. This is everything I want in a comic book movie. Is a lot more of like this dramatic sequence that we get, and I really enjoy this. And it takes out. it's kind of, I don't know how to say this, but like it takes up the comic booky and makes it more realistic in a way, like more down, I guess more grounded to down to earth. And that's what I really like about these style of movies. And this movie for me just hits it out of the park. And I don't know, I can go off about this movie. I think we made a cast about this a while back ago, but this is incredible. Like, yeah, you're right. The send off that happens, like the job that Logan does or Hugh Jackman does is amazing. And Patrick Stewart, like, he does an amazing job as well too. I think even the villains, like, it might not be. No, the villains were great as well too. Like, oh, it was just so good. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Just so dramatic.
Just want to quickly throw in. I like the way that you describe like your perfect comic book hero movie as like more of the dramatic side and like less comic booky. Whereas for me, it's total opposite end of the spectrum. So for me, the perfect comic book hero movie is Spider-Verse, just because it looks like you're reading a comic book, like just the aesthetic and everything, and then it's so cartoony. Obviously, like there's a little bit of drama, but it's a cartoon, so it's totally different end of the spectrum as to your dramatic. So I thought it was funny, like the different, I don't know, personal views as to what you define a perfect comic book movie. So I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah, like me and Kyle, lots of views. Like I wouldn't have put X2 so low, but when he was talking about like how
we're all like the same.
I have a similar way of the type of movies I like. I'm a huge Dark Knight fan. I think that's the reason I prefer. For a while, Civil War was my favorite MCU movie just because it was the most dramatic one. I think Endgame has replaced it now just because it has a lot of drama too, and it's not grounded at all, but the human moments are grounded. You know, those feel realistic. Mm-hmm. And I hope Joker, we're talking about that in a year or so from now, that I hope it knocks out of the park. But yeah, this was, it's a different relationship because I will still say that the greatest comic book performance all time, I think, is Heath Ledger's Joker. But I think this has an argument. I could easily sit there and make an argument. And I could sit there and make an argument for the movie being just as good as Dark Knight. I think they both do. Like, I think Dark Knight clearly has a better villain. But then I feel that Logan's a much more of a character study. Where Batman is about Batman. But it is a lot about Jim Gordon as well and Two-Face. Where it is about Patrick Stewart. But this is really Logan's story. And it is about Patrick Stewart's Xavier. But it is a send-off for him. He's more helping Logan along his story. And I just remember that, like I said, about Heath Ledger, but next to him, because unfortunately he passed away, it was that, and he had passed away before the movie, so we knew this was it, right? It's a one and done. So other than that, if I look at all the characters like a Downey, like a Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, like Chris Evans as Cap, I'm always not looking forward to them when they go away. I am for the cinematic purposes, but in the sense of, they're great performances. But for me, Hugh Jackman is, if you take out Ledger, the perfect performance for any of them. I put him still above all those guys. So for me, when they're like, he's coming out saying this is his last one, it had to be great for me. It had to hit all these levels, and it did, and it just exceeded them. And I was always in shock sitting there watching that this was a movie. Just the fact that they made a rated R and just called it Logan, and that's why I hope, and we're in a world where we're recording this where we haven't seen Marvel how they deal with Fox, and I always pitched that I wanted to be the same as Spider-Man, where they shared, but they could still do their own thing, because I don't think and there's comic movies I love with MCU, so I'm still happy, but I don't think we're ever going to get anything like this ever again from X-Men and whatnot, so and maybe that's the way it should be. Maybe it's just a one special film like a Dark Knight. I love Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises, but I don't think they ever reached that height. I think Batman Begins got close, but yeah, I think it's pretty much a perfect movie. The only stuff that's bad about it is small nitpicks, like there's just that one moment where the lady has an entire iMovie on her phone about like an entire experiment. Like, the only things about it are just little nitpicks of, that doesn't make exactly sense, but it's fine from a character, from a story point of view. It just knocks out of the park. And Hugh Jackman's so good in it. And now, like, no spoilers for specifics, but now we finally, with Endgame, we got to the ending of certain characters or storylines. But mostly in comic movies, we don't get an ending, to a story, and I like that we're kind of getting that now. Endgame happened, Dark Knight Rises, and Logan. But for a while, it was always just, well, Toby's done, Andrew Garfield's done. It's just, you have to imagine, I wonder what happened. Like, how did they close their saga? How did they close their chapter? And I like that we got that with Jackman, especially to me, someone that was very important to me. And that's the thing where I always go, if we didn't get this, I'd always be banging that drum of they need to bring him back, or they need to do one more. They need to bring him as Logan for the MCU. But now that we get this, I would still have loved to have seen him and Downey, him and Chris Evans. Like, those would be great scenes of those two together, those three, whatever, him with anybody. But when this movie happens, it's like, well, I don't feel too bad because it was just such a good send-off. You almost don't want more. Like, same thing. I want the him and Deadpool movie, but it's like, this is such a good send-off. You can't argue him not wanting to do anymore, right? So
I feel like, I know it's kind of off topic, but like a little like cop-out method they could do is like a little animated series with Deadpool and like Hugh Jackman doing the voice and then Ryan Reynolds doing the voice, right? I don't know.
It's close. They were going to have a Deadpool animated series.
yeah.
Rip. Donald Glover was gonna not direct it, but
I think he's showrunning it.
Showrunning,
and writing it. Yeah.
What's the difference for a showrunner? Like, what does that mean?
It's just like a director of the show,
Okay.
kind of, or more like a bigger producer, because I guess there's actual episode directors, but you would be the one to pick your crew, we're going this direction, and you get a director to direct the action or scenes and whatnot. So, yeah.
Cool.
Rip.
Well, we did it, fam.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else to say before we close out this chapter of X-Men? Oh, we didn't do one thing. Quickly, look at your lists. Where do you think Dark Phoenix is going to land? Remember we were going to predict the rating? I'm going to predict it's going to be, because my list, I went Origins, X3, Apocalypse, Wolverine. I'm having a tough time deciding if it's going to be in the middle. I don't know if it's going to be better or worse than Apocalypse, so I'm going to say it's going to be worse. I'm going to put it in between Apocalypse and X3. So I think it'll be the third. If we got a list of 10, it'll be ranked 7th. So that's my prediction. I hope I'm wrong, but that's my prediction.
I'll be the optimist on your point. I'll say it's slightly better than Apocalypse.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess that'd be 6, right?
Yeah, because we had the exact same list. So yeah.
I think
we did it.
I think I'm gonna go with Travis. I think it's gonna be a little bit worse than Apocalypse. I just have this feeling where were they doing a lot of these reshoots? Isn't it?
Oh yeah, big time.
And
They got pushed back
and
like years. It feels like
even kind of see we got the trailers for this as well too. It just feels messy, like right off the hop. Like we already know what's kind of going on, and I'm not excited.
Yeah,
for
I
this.
feel like they've spoiled a lot. They've even said, the director just come out and said he did an interview. He's like, oh yeah, we decided to kill Mystique because of this reason. It's like, so clearly I imagine she's going to die very, very early on, but it's still
the
just like,
low-key effect.
it's still just, yeah. And that's the other thing. He is a first-time director too, so that's always scared me. And there's, who knows, it could make it better. But when we record this, there was this article that came out that the finale originally took place in space, but they reshot it, so now it takes place on a train. And I just, when I hear that, I'm just like, ooh.
The space stuff, it kind of ties in with Phoenix, eh?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, a little bit. But they're still not going, I don't think, the exact route with Phoenix. I think it's still kind of a in-gene thing. I think the reason why I have it below Apocalypse is because the only reason... Not the only reason, but I'd say the only great thing in Apocalypse is the Magneto Fassbender family stuff.
100%.
And I don't know if there's going to be any of that type of stuff in Apocalypse. Like anything that's going to pull on my chain, because Mystique dying doesn't do that. I don't care about her. And maybe Quicksilver dying, but even then, and that's the only way. But then again, is that just a repeat of Apocalypse of if Magneto watches his kid die? That's what I worry. It's like, well, he just watched his kid die.
Yeah.
So
since you explained your reasoning, I'll explain mine. I'm gonna say that my expectations aren't as high as I was going into Apocalypse, because Apocalypse had such high expectations.
And it was coming off Days of Future Past, which was at least a great movie. It's like, oh, what's next?
Yeah, and then you get that, and then it's just such a letdown. This one, I feel like I kind of forgot that they were still making this movie, because when was it originally supposed to come out? Was it this year or last year?
I think it was last November 2018,
man,
and then it was supposed to come out February, and now it's coming out June. So 2 delays, 3 separate release dates.
Bunch of okay. Yeah. So yeah.
Yep,
we'll see it.
I'm on the same boat as well too. Like I don't think this. I think there'll be some good moments, but the way that they're just reshooting and not reshooting, but like we kind of already got a Dark Phoenix, a bit of it as well too.
Oh yeah.
And we don't really they could do something else instead of like this universe, but whatever. That's what they want to do. This is what the direction they want to go to send off all of this again.
I hope it's good, because it is going to be these last time for these people, right? Like Fassbender, McAvoy, even Sophie Turner. They are going to recast everybody. So that's why I hope at least it's just good, where I could return to it and be like, oh, I can have another venture. I'll probably still watch in the future, but I hope it's better than I expect, so I can
Yeah.
at least like it enough to want to revisit these
Yeah.
last performances. And who knows, maybe them reshooting some stuff might help though, because they probably have an idea of this is going to be the last one, so
Yeah.
they might go out with a bang, right? So
Yeah.
Mate, that's true. They could have changed it.
so
Knowing
the only
that fact.
positive, yeah.
I wanted to ask so the whole Days of Future Past stuff and how the timelines got altered. Is there no longer that future like?
Yeah, so all those, which is funny, but all like the movies from X-Men to even the Wolverine don't matter because none of that happened.
Yeah,
that was
so-
a previous timeline. So everything that's happening now is
New
won't
timeline.
link
Who
up
dis?
to X1.
No, but for like since at the events at the end of Days of Future Past when Logan goes back, sees Jean, is that Sophie Turner?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know about this movie. Okay.
So I would assume that she lives but then again, they could kill them and they'll just say we
They'll
don't
make
care
another Days of
because
Future Past.
yeah,
Fix the
they'll say we're done, right? So we don't care about continuity. But yeah, technically it's supposed to lead up
Okay.
to that because if you think the prequels are almost supposed to be like Xavier telling Wolverine when he's like, "Oh, I'm a little light on history. What happened?" It's kind of him telling him that story, right? Because Apocalypse, that's how Wolverine got in that cage again. Is because Days of Future Past, he ended up there. So
Yep. We'll see what happens.
Yep.
Sweet. All right, I also want to say this is the first time we've had, or the first series that we've had, just the three of us. It's been
yeah,
fun.
Nice.
yeah, it was
So fun,
fun.
It was a
guys.
ride, boys.
It was definitely a ride. It was a great ride. Yeah, so next week, because this is when it drops live for you, the audio and video listeners. If not, if you support us, listen on Patreon or watch, thank you very much. But if not, next week or this week, whenever, I'm not sure exactly this will be dropping, but Dark Phoenix is within the next 10 days, so we will be doing a big spoilers breakdown of that. I think that's going to be a good cast because I think there could be some wild stuff in that movie. Maybe not for the best, but it will be worth talking about because I feel some of our best casts were Origins and X3, and it's just what's going on. I feel like we might get that with Dark Phoenix. So if you like what we did here, thank you very much for supporting us this entire series. We don't know what the public thought, but we know at least the first episode, you guys really supported that, so thank you for that. And yeah, in the description below is where you can find us on video and audio feeds. And thank you for this series. And until next time,
Have an excellent day.
I feel like that's also been used.
Yeah,
but I'm
we've
just
used
going
it. I
with
don't know. We're going with it.
X out.
X out.
X-Force.